Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and I have a very special guest with us today, Isaiah Mason. He is a senior at Maury High School and one of two of the newest Gates Scholars within here in Norfolk Public Schools. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. And before we talk about your great accomplishment, I want to know a little bit about you and your background. Like, what schools did you attend and how long have you been in Norfolk Public Schools?
Well, I've actually lived in Norfolk for as long as I can remember, and I grew up around Campusella. So I attended elementary school at Campusella Elementary back when it was on Campusella Road. And then from there, I went on to Ruffner Middle School as a young scholar. And now I'm a senior at Maury High School in the Medical and Health Specialties program.
Wow. So you've been busy.
Yeah.
That's busy enough. So are you involved in any extracurricular activities?
Well, I'm involved in multiple things. I am in Anime Club and Scholastic Bowl. A member of the Rainbow Club. I'm in chamber orchestra where I'm section leader for the violas, and then up until December I was a member of Strolling Silver Strings, which was an NPS group that's a string ensemble composed of members from the 5 high schools in Norfolk Public Schools. And then I'm also a member of National Honor Society.
So you're academically and musically talented. Awesome, great combination. So this scholarship is new. It was formerly Gates Millennial Scholarship and it shifted to Gates Scholarship after a couple of years. So tell me, what does this award cover this year? Okay,
so one of the biggest changes with the new Gates Scholarship is that it's relatively downsized, so it only covers undergraduate studies. So along with that is it's a final dollar amount fund. So if there's any deficit between the amount I'm getting from Duke and how much I need to cover school costs, then they'll cover it. And then another caveat of it is there's a $2,000 allotment for laptops and any accessories that I would need for that, which they would reimburse me for. And then they'll fund a study abroad experience if I wanted to do that, which I'm definitely looking forward to because I want to study abroad in Italy. And then there's a whole host of networking capabilities allotted to us to help us get through undergraduate education, like if we needed a mentor.
That's awesome. Well, you know, you mentioned Duke and you're wearing a Duke jacket here. So what are your plans after graduation? And how has this Gates Scholarship helped you to progress in your education?
Well, I got into Duke through Quest Bridge College Match, which meant that I was committed to Duke through early decisions, so I found that back out in December 1st. So since then, I've been doing a bunch of research into different programs offered. So I'm planning on majoring in biology with the concentration in biochem, and then minoring in Italian, and then heading on to medical school. So it's like I have a bunch of school ahead of me, and Gates sort of, it acts as a life preserver. So I know that I'm covered for the next 4 years at least. So it's that peace of mind that allows me to focus on my studies.
Right, and that's a good thing because you have a lot going on and they're going to keep you busy. So what kind of impact has the Medical and Health Specialty Program at Maury had on your academic career?
Well, it's definitely taught me to be a lot more flexible, and definitely Ms. Christie specifically stresses the importance of time management. So I've had to budget with the program requirements with extracurriculars and then keeping up with my friends. So it's more of getting used to having a large workload and adjusting how I study and to maintain good grades, so that I don't feel that it's as big as a jump for me to go to college, because I've already been in a strenuous environment, and it's successfully completing the program has sort of set me up to be successful in studying biology in college.
And as part of your scholarship, there's a requirement for you to attend the Summer Institute. Tell us about that.
Well, they haven't really released a bunch of information on it, but it's they're having all 300 scholars meet in Dallas, Texas, and that's so we get a chance to meet each other before we start school and also start networking. I know part of the finalist acceptance form was submitting a your email address because they're giving us business cards.
Oh, wow.
So we can get in contact with professionals that they're bringing down to meet us. And there's a whole bunch of activities to sort of introduce us to what it means to be a GATE scholar for the next 4 years.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about the application process. What was that like? What did you have to do?
It was a few steps. So I started it back in July, and they asked basically to check my whether or not I could receive the scholarship. So they wanted to know my EFC because it's set that they are looking for a bunch of people with EFCs of 0, so that going to school isn't a financial burden for us. And then they wanted to check out my GPA and my class rank, and then have my counselor submit a secondary report. And then the semifinalist phase was there were 4 essays, and they wanted 2 teacher recommendations. And then the finalist phase, we had an interview. So I had a Skype interview with a principal up in New Jersey. And so it was after that, which the interview was in March. So they told us April 20th. So it's been since July until April that I've been working on it.
That's a long process, but you know what? It's worth it, correct? And just know there's only 300 GATE scholarship recipients, and 2 are right here from Norfolk Public Schools. How did it feel for you to be honored this way?
Well, it was more like, it was astounding because back when I was starting middle school, I had heard about the GATE scholarship, and it was one of those things that I really wanted to accomplish when I graduated, to say, oh yeah, I'm going to be a GATE scholar. Because like when I was growing up, my family had always said, well, if you keep your head in the books, then you're going to go to school on a full ride. But me being like a realist was always like, well, I'm not sure where the money's going to come from. And so that I got this is sort of like I'm set.
Right. It's amazing to me, out of 28,000 applications, 300 were selected, and you were one of 2 here from Norfolk Public Schools. To me, that is awesome, and that is a great honor. Why do you think you were selected? I
feel like it was my drive to pursue medicine, and something that I talked about in my essays in the semifinalist phase was not only here, but in third world countries. They asked me what is one thing I would like to change, and I was saying I feel like there should be more support for healthcare in third world countries. And in going into medicine, I feel like it's important that you shouldn't be rejected help because you can't afford it. And then I want to become an anesthesiologist because I want to be able to help people every day.
Right, that's great. And just think, the medical and health specialties program has impacted you greatly. But how has Norfolk Public Schools, you believe, prepared you for life after high school?
Well, Norfolk Public Schools has definitely taught me the value of community. Like, being in Norfolk is very diverse, and so one of the biggest jumps for me was actually going from elementary school to middle school, because in Norfolk Public Schools, it's like, in elementary school, I went with a bunch of people who were like me, and then the specialty programs that we have bring everyone across the city together. So I got to meet a bunch of different people, and a bunch of my friends were from different cultures. I had a bunch of Filipino friends, and then the other GATE scholar in NPS, we met through the Young Scholars Program at Ruffner. So he's Hispanic. So I've had a bunch of different opportunities to meet with other people, and then also engage with different teachers. So I've had that support in the community to be better, and then all my friends have sort of pushed me along, so that it's not so much I'm doing this all for me, it's because I've had that support, and I sort of owe it to them to pay it back and say, hey, I made it thanks to you. And then going on to college, it's like, I feel like I've been prepared to ask for help if I need it, and that's something that NPS has really taught me.
Wow, that's awesome, and we are very proud of you. Congratulations again for being a GATE scholar, and we know you're going to do great things at Duke University.
Thank you.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio, we have the head football coach from Booker T. Washington High School, DJ Alexander. Coach, welcome.
Thank you.
Coach, we have you down here. We've had a number of signing days across the district, and Booker T was able to have theirs, a special moment. So talk about your feelings about your signing day that you recently had.
A very exciting day. That's the reason why you get into coaching, to help kids transition from high school to college or military or anything else they want to pursue after high school. So it's a very exciting day. Was able to send student athletes off to college. Hopefully we have a few other ones that still trying to work out some last minute things to make sure they have a transition plan in place after graduation as well. Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the individuals that were able to sign a letter of intent to play at that next level. So who were they?
Michael Saunders, he played his freshman year. He gave up football his sophomore year, and we was able to convince him to come back out for the team his junior year. He ended up earning team captain his senior year, able to keep his grades up, and was able to put a transition plan in place for him. So to see him go off to college is very exciting, to pick up football and rekindle his love for the sport and be able to play it at the next level. It's exciting. Christian Perry, he's a kid that didn't play his freshman, sophomore, or junior year.
Oh, wow.
So he played football in middle school, didn't play his first 3 years. I talked to him in the hallways, I had him in class, and I said, well, just come out for the football team your senior year, and you just never know what happens. He going off to hockey in college, and again, he'll be playing defensive back as well. Tyree Sutton, he's a two-year team captain for me. He also wrestles. He's a kid that developed over 4 years. He's a kid that came in at 205 pounds. He lived in the weight room, got up to 285 pounds. First team, all conference, all region, playing all-star games. So he had another brother that played for me as well, who went to James Madison University. Actually, 2 of his brothers went to James Madison University. Okay. So he's the 3rd kid in the family. So to see him go off to Gannon University up in Pennsylvania, they flew him out there and showed him the campus. He fell in love with it. So he'll call Gannon University his home for the next 4 years.
Well, Coach, we had a chance to catch up with these athletes, and they were very excited. So let's take a look at how they were talking about the schools that they signed with.
Yes.
Well, at this moment, I'm overwhelmed with joy because I didn't really think that I was going to make it this far. You know, 1 year playing high school football, didn't think I was going to make it this far, but I'm excited.
I feel very excited. I feel very blessed to be able to go to the next level and play football and get my education at the same time. Make my mama proud. I feel very excited.
It was a lot of support. The teachers, they stayed on me harder because they seen that I was playing football. So, you know, I gotta stay on my grades. And my counselor, she stayed on me too, about signing papers, getting everything done for college.
Stay on top of everything and don't ever get behind. You'll be good.
Hard work shows off, and at the end of the day, you're going to get some reward out of your hard work.
Apply pressure every moment. Apply pressure everywhere. In the classroom, off the field, on the field, everywhere. And listen to your coach. And make sure you keep your grades on top.
All right, Coach, let's talk a little bit about your responsibilities in helping these students get to this next level, whether it's the Hocking School is a junior college, so it's a little bit different. And then obviously Gannon's a 4-year school, NCAA Division II school. So talk about your responsibilities.
First and foremost, we have to make sure they stay on pace for academics, because the graduation requirements for high school is different than the requirements for NCAA. So not only we have to make sure they stay academically eligible to graduate from Norfolk Public Schools, but we also have to make sure they eligible from NCAA guideline as well. So we have to make sure they take the SATs on time, the ACTs, make sure they're taking the right courses that's recognized by the NCAA, as opposed to just Norfolk Public Schools. We have to talk to guidance counselors, academic access advisor, Ms. Whitehead. She does a great job making sure they fill out their paperwork. Most importantly, we have to build relationships with the different college coaches.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, there's a lot of people involved in that. So how do you deal with it? One, the school counselor, and then obviously you got the recruiters coming in, and how do you kind of manage those guys coming in? And then ultimately the parents. How are you keeping the parents informed? And how are they involved in this process?
The parents, they have my telephone number. They call me to find out where their child is in the process of transitioning to college. So I try to keep them informed at every phase of the step, every step of the way. My assistant coaches, I have a great coaching staff that helps me with transcripts, highlight tapes for each kid, making sure they feel like they NCAA academic core GPA worksheet.
When in the process does a student athlete have to fill that out in their during their 4 years?
They don't have to officially fill it out until probably their junior year, where they have to register with the NCAA clearinghouse. And that's when you send off your SAT scores to NCAA clearinghouse. So in order for you to actually get an official scholarship offer or anything like that, you have to be registered with NCAA clearinghouse. But in the meantime, your freshman and sophomore year, you don't have to fill out anything, but you have to be mindful of those core courses. And so we constantly talking about their transcripts and talking about what grades do you get in your core courses, not your electives, but your core courses.
And we've talked about that before.
Yes.
And so now, as a freshman coming in, it is critical that they are in these core courses, getting good grades.
Absolutely.
And just keeping the process going through their senior year.
It's even more critical now because they raised the academic standards from a 2.0 core to a 2.3 core if you actually want to play your freshman year.
Okay.
If not, you have to redshirt your freshman year.
All right.
Most colleges want you to play your freshman year.
Okay. Well, Coach, I mean, we know football is almost 12 months a year. But when your season ends, you really are cranking it back up in terms of helping these student athletes. You're helping them on the field, getting them ready to compete on Friday nights. But dang, afterwards, I mean, that's when the work is, a lot of work's being done.
It's a lot more work done in off season than the in season because you have to get the seniors recruited. You have to get ready for off season strength and conditioning program. You have to do a lot of safety courses. You have to get ready for 7-on-7 teen camps and to get the kids exposure, one-day camps.
Okay.
So it's
All
a
right,
full-time job.
The full-time job, you got a Friday night win, and then you also got a young man that's signed a college scholarship that's going to hopefully help his life down the road. Which one do you enjoy more?
Oh, I enjoy signing day more than anything because, again, you can't take away a 4-year degree. So a kid go off to college and get a degree. Football season, his career will always end, but a degree will stay with them forever. So I'd rather send a kid off to college than win a big football game any day.
Okay, that's a good statement. The 4 years means more than just that Friday night. So
absolutely,
Coach, you're doing a heck of a job. We wish you continued success, and I'm sure you're going to have it.
Thank you.
All right. More NPS Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today is Tim Billups. He is the Executive Director of Human Resources to talk about our recent job fair and our recruitment opportunities. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you.
I understand we recently held a job fair at Crossroads School. Tell us, what was different about this particular job fair?
Okay, the job fair that we had this past Saturday was really, really successful. What was different about this job fair is that this was the first job fair in which our talent ed program was in effect. So basically what was different with this job fair is that many of the candidates may have already spoken with the principal or an assistant principal, or had already met them because the new system gave them the opportunity to reach out to prospective candidates before even seeing them at the job fair.
So kind of explain that for us, that system, Talent Ed. What does it do and how do you find people?
It's a great system. What Talent Ed is a cloud-based system that allows principals or managers basically 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access to prospective candidates. So basically a supervisor, manager, principal, they can go into the system as soon as a person applies, see that candidate's application and supporting documents, and reach out to them for interviews, particularly for our certificated positions such as teachers, which is our largest job classification and the positions that we're always trying to fill. So it allows a lot of collaboration between principals, human resources, and the candidates at a moment's notice. For example, a person could apply at 1 o'clock in the day, and by 1:30, if that principal is on the system seeing the application, they could call that person in for an interview right away. So it speeds up the process and allows everyone to be very involved from the very beginning.
So when did you implement it, and how long did it take for you all to come up to speed with this program?
This program for Norfolk Public Schools was implemented on April the 1st. It's a program that, since my arrival in Norfolk, I had wanted something that was faster, more technology based and all that, because our previous process, although very customer service focused and friendly, was just a little bit slower. And the slower you are, of course, competing for candidates against other districts, it makes the process that much more difficult. So we've been working for the past couple of years to try to get a program like this to assist us, and we were successful in obtaining it on April the 1st is when it actually rolled out. Now that was the rollout date, but it required a lot of backroom work, training, and all of that needed to happen in order for it to be ready for April 1st.
Yeah, what kind of training did they receive?
What actually happened was HR staff, we worked very closely with the consultants from Talent Ed to make sure that our staff was equipped with the training and knowledgeable about the system. So that took place first. And then we conducted training sessions for all of our users with Talent Ed on a couple of days, a couple of weeks or so ago, before April the 1st, the rollout date, in which all the principals, all the administrators, anyone who would participate in a hiring decision was invited to the training. So over the course of 2 days, we held 8 sessions, and fortunately we trained almost upwards of 200 staff members of NPS on this new system. So we're really excited about it, and the end users, the principals, the administrators, everyone is excited about it because, again, it will give them firsthand access to candidates as they apply.
Sure. In addition to Talent Ed, you will also be using principal and coordinator panels that will make hiring recommendations for the district and not a particular school. Why are we going that route?
Well, we use panels or hiring panels typically when there are positions in which they're administrative in nature for the most part. And so we like to use a hiring panel because we want to have different perspectives as individuals view different candidates, so that we can make sure that we're viewing the entire candidate pool and making the most suitable selection. So candidate panels are typically used for positions that are mostly administrative in nature, and it's a good way to have different insight into different individuals to make sure that we're making the right decision for the district.
And I meant to ask this question earlier on when we began talking about Talent Ed, but what positions do you find the most difficult to fill?
Well, the most difficult positions right now are obviously teaching positions as well as bus driver positions. There's a national teacher shortage currently, and that's happening here also in Norfolk as well as within our region. So competing against other districts for basically the same pool of candidates is very, very difficult. And so pretty much with the teacher shortage and the bus driver shortage, those are the positions. And again, Talent Ed is going to assist us with that.
Yeah, so what does your department do? I just mentioned to you off camera that my little service pen time is coming, but what do you do to recognize employees? Okay, what we do to recognize employees, we do several things throughout the course of the year. One event that we have in usually November or December, it's a meet and greet.
and / December graduates type of program, in which we try to bring in newly graduated students to see if we have opportunities for them. So it's an opportunity for them to check us out, for us to as well check them out, and to hopefully have a match for a position if we have some positions available. So that's one thing that we do. Another event that we hold is the continuing contract banquet. What that is that when an employee or a teacher has reached 4 years of service with Norfolk Public Schools, what we do is we hold an event to show them how they're valued, how they're appreciated, because now they've reached continuing contract status with us. And that's very important in the field of education, to be a continuing contract teacher. So we most recently held that event a couple of weeks ago, the continuing contract. We also have upcoming our retirement banquet to actually pay tribute and show our value and appreciation to all of our long-term employees who've decided that they're going to retire. So this year, the date is June 4th for that, and that will be held on the Spirit of Norfolk. We also give out we also give out service pins to our employees to recognize their years of service with Norfolk Public Schools, and those are done usually in 5-year increments, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and so on. And so we give those out as well to recognize them. So we try to do things so that employees know that they're valued and appreciated with our district.
So I know you have some upcoming job fairs coming up. When do you think you're going to hold them again? So folks who are watching today, they can kind of mark their calendar or know who to contact when they want to come to a job fair.
Certainly. This is a critical time of the year for recruitment. So as we know, we just held a very successful one this past Saturday. We have a job fair coming up in June. We don't have the exact date yet, but it will be in June. So stay tuned for more information on our website for that one, as well as more than likely we'll have another one around August, because we found that we're very successful with hosting our own job fairs. So definitely one in June, another one in August, and possibly July. We'll just have to see how our recruitment efforts go.
Great. So we'll tell folks to check our website at www.npsk12.com/HR.
Right, exactly. All your information and who you need to contact is located right there.
Perfect. Thank you for coming on the show
Certainly.
today.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
All right.
And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. Airs weekly on WNPS Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.